talking about the training. I know when before I became president, I got involved in a chapter to take the prep courses for PMP exam. And I know that all the course material was actually created by chapter members. Were you part of that creation of the initial material?
I don't recall that, so I'm not going to take
No?
any credit for it.
No, Joe Lucas. I know Joe Lucas had a big hand in it. A couple other people created all that course material, PowerPoint slides.
Yeah, I won't take any credit for that, but perhaps I had some small input. I don't know, but Joe Lucas was a great guy
No,
for
he was.
advancing the profession, and spending a lot of personal time in it. That's something, if you don't mind, you're kind of leading, kind of following on questions you've already asked, and it ties into what you were just asking about, Ted. In current times, with the PMP and the application, it includes, you have to have so many points worth of education, giving back to the chapter. There's all these different ways you can earn them, being a speaker or a chapter officer and all that kind of thing.
Right.
I think that generally speaking, there might be flaws in it and certain issues, but generally speaking, I think the concept is good. And I think it encourages most of the right kind of behavior in terms of giving back to the profession. In the early days of our chapter, back in the late 80s and early 90s, there wasn't a such thing. The exam itself had just gotten off the ground. They didn't have this point system for being qualified to take the exam or anything like that. So my point is, those who were involved in the chapter early on, especially people like Randy and Rick Pakel and Joe Lucas and all these people that made contributions, they were doing it just because they felt it was the right thing to do, to give, help others, in return, maybe when you least expect it, you're going to get something back in terms of personal benefit, something that you learn about, or a network connection. And that's all that was driving us. It was internal drive. And so I think that speaks highly to some of the early work that later chapter members were able to build on. And they really have built on it. The size of the membership and the offerings that they have these days. No, I'm really proud of how far the chapter has come.
I think what I'd be really interested in learning is if anybody had a military background. We know the military started, kind of really kicked off that project management thought process, as well as some of the leading,
There was one guy, Ted, I don't know if you remember Al Hellawell, but he was pretty regularly involved with not only Kodak project management, but the chapter as well. And I know that Al had an earlier career with the Navy. I think he was second or third in charge of a nuclear sub. so he was pretty high up the team, actually. So yeah, that was kind of a connection, but I don't think that there was a lot of it that I was aware of.
So not a lot of roots tying back. Interesting.
But let me say this though, on a related note, I think that I agree that there was a military connection in the early days of project management. There was also a heavy construction connection.
Okay.
And when people would typically think about a project, it was usually, what building are we building, or what bridge are we building, right?
Yes.
And we definitely didn't have a whole lot of that in our chapter, at least early on, and I'm not sure that we ever did. And there might have been separate societies like Civil Engineering Society that might have had a lot of that, but I don't think that was the kind of people that were involved in our chapter were either product development, perhaps some IT early on. I think that really changed in more recent years and became really heavily IT, but not so much construction. I don't think we had a lot of it ever that I was aware of, and it was something that you would that I would notice. If we were interacting with some of the other chapters, they might have been more heavily thinking along the lines of what is it we're building.
And that's interesting because the idea of project management and what exactly the processes that you need to put in place can vary so greatly from industry to industry to industry.
Right.
You know, everything from digital marketing to construction to telecom.
One of the things I liked about my Kodak career was I was able to apply generic project management principles to a lot of different things.
Yes.
I mentioned product development, and there were different products that I was involved with, whether it be film or cameras or photo finishing equipment or digital equipment. One of my early efforts had to do with the not so exciting utilities maintenance part of Kodak, the people that were running and maintaining boilers and
Important
compressors.
people.
Like that. Yeah, but if that shuts down and you can't run your manufacturing line to make film, then that's a problem. But
Big problem.
I also got involved in later years in other kinds of projects, marketing. There was one that had to do with the internet and social media.
Okay.
And it's where I was first introduced to concepts like, how many views did we get? How many hits? How many people acted upon those and went to the next step? That was all new to me, but
What are your click-throughs, your open rates?
all that, and I learned about those metrics and how important they were to that particular project. And even though I wasn't personally the expert in it, the other people in the team were, and I was just there to add organizational and planning and communication assistance.
But that is where project management is so amazing as a career, because it does allow you to travel through all of these diverse industries and verticals and learn so much. Where else can you do that?